Hello, Galaxy. Chris Pirillo here. I have a slight headache that came upon me at some point today, second Monday. It's Tuesday. Can we just agree that Tuesday is not a day, it's second Monday? Thank you for joining. It's been relatively quiet around here, but that's good. In some ways, I prefer that. Had to get through a stack of tasks today, though. One of the last things I'm going to do is likely be talking to you because again, this headache that I can't quite shake. It's a little maddening, a little frustrating because I can't really see straight, and the longer it goes on, despite having taken something for it, the worse it gets. Has that ever happened to you? Like when it comes to headaches, if you don't like nip it in the bud, there's a problem. So we're going to launch into the news. We'll be skipping the deals, but if you want to catch the deals, of course, you can pop over to Discord and check out the deals, sales, discounts section. Easy to do. Of course, you can also subscribe to the email newsletter that goes out every week. It's not. I don't think it's a sinus headache. I think it's tension because I feel. Well, I guess maybe it could be sinus. I did sneeze, but I also took a Zyrtec earlier in the day. Actually, it might be a combination of both. Tired, allergies, sinuses. You may not be too far from the truth there. So let's start with this one. Microsoft's laying off a team that taught employees how to make AI tools responsibly. Now, keep in mind, they're not laying off everybody. They're just laying off a few people on this particular team or with this particular team that were part of the responsible AI aspect of things, which is really kind of weird because, they're all about AI and they're rolling out AI. It seems like a weird time to be laying off one of its responsible AI teams. Now, this is, again, what's being reported. Again, not everybody is from, in the Office of Responsible AI is being laid off. It's just a few of them. So that said, this move leaves Microsoft without a dedicated team to ensure its AI principles are closely tied to product design at a time when the company is leading the charge to make AI tools available in the mainstream. So it's got the office still standing. It's just part of it has been laid off, which unfortunate timing, given that everybody and their grandmother's talking about AI. And if it's not this company, we're going to be talking about at least two other companies today because, it's a day that ends in a Y, being second Monday, that are doing things and being active in the realm of AI. So, layoffs are going to happen, which is unfortunate. I'm definitely not for them. I can't speak to their decision process. I know that Meta wasn't planning on covering this, but Meta is also laying off 10,000 people on top of the 10,000 they already laid off previous to this. So I don't know if more layoffs are coming from Microsoft, but I don't think this is going to stem the tide of them pushing into the brave new world of being controlled or dominated by AI. It's just at this time where we have to be that much more sensitive to what AI is going to do. It just seems like weird to me that they wouldn't double down on AI rather than just pull back. It seems really weird. Like those people couldn't have been reallocated somewhere else or reassigned. And Microsoft's big enough that they should be able to handle that. But what do I know? Maybe they weren't performing. Maybe the team is going to be going a slightly different direction. The bottom line is, and the platformer called it out specifically, everyone involved in the development of AI agrees that the technology poses potent and possibly existential risks, both known and unknown. Poor old Mark doesn't even know how to spell AI. We'll try to bring you up to speed. I can try. Oof. It's a vowel. Also sounds like a body part. Ear. A ear. That's what we're thinking of. A ear. Yeah, so interesting news there out of Microsoft. Every day you can expect, if you're into tech and you don't like AI, it's gonna this future is gonna suck for you. Hey, CNIP.
Hey, how are you?
Well, I got a headache, but how are you?
Yeah, okay.
Second Monday.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to the time change here.
Dude, don't get me. I don't understand. why would I want to save daylight? I try to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Daylight does not like me. Why do I have to like it?
It
Why?
doesn't want to pick it. Like, now that we're back on this daylight savings time, let's just stay with that.
That's my hope. That's the
It-
thing.
I guess I saw something in the news with it, and sorry, I don't want to go off track,
No,
but
I mean, I can belabor this point, but
mhm.
I think we've kind of covered it. What topic were you wanting to veer
I was
into?
just gonna quickly say there that I guess it's not just up to one area to say, hey, we want to
Of
stop daylight savings,
daylight saving,
because
yeah,
it's been talked about a lot here. But in my area, being more on the east side of the continent, um, it, like New York City would have to follow suit, as well as like Montreal and in Quebec, and like all around, like a whole big area. So they all have to come to that consensus that they want to, otherwise it wouldn't work out. I guess it has to do with like business and shipping and all that sort of stuff. It just throws it too far off. But I'm thinking I don't think anybody in any of those areas would say they wouldn't want to do it. Like originally it was supposed to, from my understanding, years and years ago, was supposed to be helping with farming, right? So you would save time in daylight so that you could do your crops or whatever. But even since I was a kid in the 80s, when I lived out in the country, the farmers had like the combines and everything with the big spotlights, and they
right.
were well into like 9 o'clock and almost 10 o'clock at night, like harvesting in the fall. So it
Yeah,
doesn't make sense anymore,
we've
and I
got.
don't know.
I think our state has basically passed legislation saying, yeah, we want to eliminate it, but we have to wait for. I think it went through the Senate here in the states, but it's got to get passed in the House.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
I
where
don't
it's
know
stuck.
where we're at with it here, but I know most people are like, can we just stop
I
this?
just, there are people that I'd imagine want to hold on to it, but I feel like most of us are just ready for. I mean, we live online anymore anyway,
Yeah.
and so like daylight, yes, is relevant, but at the same time, why? Why do we like do this to ourselves? It's hard enough to
Yeah.
keep a schedule, and I think maybe that's part of the problem is that my rhythm is off. Like I feel like I'm getting up late, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's
Well,
like
the last couple days for
I feel
work,
like a
I'm just getting
slacker.
up at the last second, and I'm running the dogs around the block, and I'm coming back, and I'm like, I'm just nearly late starting work. I know, like, I work from home, but still, like, that I
Yeah,
need to be on at a certain time. There's things I need to check. There's routine stuff I want to get going with, and like I don't typically I like to kind of stay in bed, and I'm not a person that just jumps up like a jack in the box when I get up in the morning. I need to kind of get up a little bit and like maybe grab my iPhone or something or a tablet and just read some news and just kind of quietly kind of get up and that. And the last couple days it's just because I've been late, it's had to just get up and run kind of thing, and then like, I hate that, and I got to get used to it.
so I think my body. Maybe it's because of this headache. My body is telling me, "Hey, you need to recalibrate." So I think tonight, basically after TLDR, usually I'll hang here. I'm just gonna. I have a feeling I'm just gonna crash, um, and hopefully, tomorrow morning, wake up and be like basically ready to go, completely
I'm
rebooted.
hoping that even though I got up late today, I'm hoping I might have licked it now, because last night I slept like the dead, and I got
So
like 7 hours sleep, which is not really heard of for me. I'm not usually that, but I just never woke up, I looked at the time and that, and I knew when I went down, and so I got well over 7 hours sleep last night, which is not heard of for me. So it's obviously, it's affected me, and I'm hoping maybe that was enough now. That'll be a
well,
little
but
bit better to
here's
get
the
up.
thing: it impacts productivity, right?
Yep.
It's an impediment, and it's like we have the technology. Like most clocks, apart from maybe Auto Danger Den's car, will auto update. I had allegedly my clock had the atomic time built into it, but it never worked right.
Hmm.
So, which is annoying because I'm like, well, that was part of the reason I got it because it projects onto the ceiling. I have a
Hmm.
projector clock in the bedroom so that I can see
Right.
the time. That was the only like of all the clocks I've ever used, that's my favorite one ever because I can
Yeah.
actually see it at
I
night.
and it may still it makes sense the further north you go, because this time, like in the winter time of the months, you're almost in complete darkness no matter how far up you go. But
Right.
but then it goes the flip side in the summer. Then, like, I know my brother-in-law, he he went out to like, he's a hunter, right? So he went to the Yukon there at one point in time to go hunting. And the time of year that he went, he said it just went to dusk. The sun didn't even go down.
Wow.
But then the other end of it is that if he was there like in the opposite months, right, where he said that the sun would never come up and it's just complete darkness all the time.
Right.
So
that's gonna be pretty.
It might make sense if you're further north, but where I am, like, I know, like, I'm in Canada, but a lot of people have cold and everything. It's like, well, I'm actually more southern than some states around here where I am located right now.
Yeah.
You have to look at the map. I dip down like where I am, right? Like, I'm in between Toronto and Ottawa, and in that area in Lake Ontario, it dips down. So there's lots of states that are further north than me. So it's not always like because you live in Canada that you're so far north, right?
Right.
It's kind of that stigma that people have with it. They just think, oh, you're in Canada, we're cold. Well, there's lots of states that are colder than where I am. So
we were just started talking the news that I picked up. I know that Reddit, other files brought it up. Reddit had a crash. I'd imagine it's fine now. I do not spend copious amounts of time on Reddit. But also in the news today, as we were discussing, I think earlier this week,
right,
or last week, GPT-4 was right around the corner. Apparently, GPT-4 is now upon us, and with it, it can do some very powerful things, including, being able to translate imagery, as in describe the, why, if you had a picture that would just seem weird, something was off, you could ask it to describe the picture and why it would seem off, and it would be able to analyze that picture and tell you what was wrong. Like, if you had a picture of a car going down the highway and someone was sitting on top of the car, ChatGPT would say, well, this is images. If you asked it what's wrong with this picture, it would likely reply with, this is a person on top of the car as the car is driving down the road. That's an anomaly. So it's getting more intelligent. Not, it isn't taking over the world.
No.
But it is available to ChatGPT at this time, ChatGPT Plus subscribers, or Pro, whatever premium platinum platform they've got. If you want to pay for it, I'm not yet paying for it. It will be rolling out, to everybody eventually, if not sooner rather than later. But according to OpenAI, GPT-4 scored in the top 10% of simulated bar exam, while GPT 3.5 scored around the bottom 10%. GPT-4 also outperformed GPT 3.5 in a series of benchmark tests that they've got outlined here, a series of them, including a variety of options like AP Calculus, or biology, like psychology, all like SATs, like all these tests that previously it done okay on, or not that great, it has improved dramatically. It's not going to take over the world, but it's definitely, GPT just got smarter, and I would expect these smarts to continue, on a regular cadence, such that, even what we're looking at today is just going to seem antiquated in terms of what it was able to do compared to what it's going to be able to do.
Let's say a year from now. Even a year from now, I might even laugh at it at that point and say, "Holy cow, has it ever came a long way, even in a year's time?"
You can even upload an image of a graph too. So you need help with your homework, click, boom, done. That's it. You're finished, and it'll explain it to you. Explain to me why this is that, and it'll give you the logic. You can copy and paste. And now I guess the language as written is going to be more customizable, so it sounds less programmatic, making it easier to avoid detection. As in, like, was this text written by ChatGPT? It might be able to cheat it. It might be able to work around it. So it's getting stronger.
Interesting.
Hey, Dragon, good to see you. Yeah, so I'm excited because I do use ChatGPT. So when I want to use it and I need to use it, I know it's there, which is awesome. I like it when my software improves.
Of course, who doesn't?
well, yeah, I know, but like the software that I definitely use on a regular basis, even though I haven't got to the point where I'll pay for ChatGPT. I don't know what it'll take for me to pay for it. Like if ChatGPT functionality did text and video generation and image generation, much like Midjourney, and they're on the cusp of releasing their next algorithm, which is just astounding. Like if it was like an all-in-one power, I'd pay for that. I'd absolutely pay for that because I'd know I'm like, well, I'll use it for this, or I'll use it for that, or I'll figure out how to use it here, there, or wherever. Yeah, I'd give it a shot. So I drive an electric vehicle that's not a Tesla. Shocker. But this one hit my radar not because so it's mentioning Silicon Valley's push into transportation being a miserable failure, but it was this specific quote. Elon Musk admitted to his biographer that the reason the Hyperloop was announced, even though he had no intention of pursuing it, was to try to disrupt the California high-speed rail project to get in the way of actually succeeding. That's not a surprise, but it is aggravating to the nth degree.
Yeah, they were talking about doing the Hyperloop thing from, in Canada here from, and I don't know if they're going to high-speed rail now or whatever, but there was some rumbling about that they were interested in it for between, I guess it's Calgary and Edmonton, and I guess the drive between there maybe is like, oh god, I think it's like 4 or 5 hours between the two cities, maybe less than that, less than 5 anyway, but up there, right? And I guess with Hyperloop you could get there within like 35 minutes to 45 minutes.
See, that's what I'd love. I'd love that kind of connectivity with, like, if I was here, my dream would be from here to Disneyland in 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
I
yeah.
do it by plane,
or
like,
or where I am, it's like, hey, Chris, do you want to go for lunch? Sure.
Yeah, exactly. That maybe one day.
I'll be there in like 10 minutes.
Right. That would be a dream to be able to get anywhere.
I wonder what we'll see in our lifetime. Like if I live long enough, like
I'm not going to be around for that much longer. Well, 20 years, 30 years, 40 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I feel I've got that in me.
I don't know how. I don't keep up. Like I keep an eye on the electric vehicle stuff, but I don't know how far off they are with these other kind of technologies with high speed rail and that. It's a lot of money, right?
It's infrastructure.
So it a lot of the technologies are there, but to lay that down, like if you went Hyperloop, that's the whole, it's easier to try to put something in place like a high-speed rail because the rail is already there. Like they can change it up a bit or whatever. The infrastructure is somewhat there. They would have to change the rails a bit, but when it's a Hyperloop, that's like a whole tunnel system, and it's a lot more money to actually put down. And I can't see any city that could ever see that would be affordable.
Yeah. So I would hope one day we'd be able to see something like that, but I have a feeling it's all political. It's all the people who've got the money, right?
Yeah,
that's
they've even talked about. I think it is in the works, though. I think they're talking about doing a high-speed rail between up here in Canada between Montreal and Toronto because they're two major airports, and so there seems to be a lot of travel between the two because depending on where you're going in the world. Pearson Airport in Toronto can do most things, but like most places, but I know even for like actually my boss that's away now on March break, he took his family to Dominican Republic and he had to fly out of Montreal. I said, not Toronto. He said, no, the flights and stuff, the way it went, it was better and cheaper that way. That's the other option. So I guess not that I'm much of a traveler, so I don't know, but from my understanding, there's a lot of commute between those two cities. And that's like a 5-hour run right there too, back and forth. So they're saying high-speed rail would help with that a lot. But
well, I don't think the technology doesn't exist. It's the will
and the money. I think it's the money too.
Yeah,
the infrastructure will just cost so much. It'll be like, yeah, you won't even see it in your lifetime getting it paid off. So they're like, I think we'll just wait and see if something cheaper comes along, right?
Well, but that's in Seattle. We've got a light link rail that is set to connect the sound, and it's been slow going, but it's been incremental. Ours, I think our city doesn't. I think our city is about the last to get connected.
Oh, really?
Which is frustrating. Like, really?
Because you
So
could
yeah,
really get around once it comes through there.
I hope it's a boon. From for all intents and purposes, I mean, it'd be great to get from point A to point B to use that system because it'd be far more efficient, far more effective, and it would be fast, like
Yep.
fast, which would be a boon to be able to even have the time. Like if I was able to get from here to downtown Seattle in 10 minutes, like 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, and no hassle, no having to worry about parking. I'm like, yeah, that makes it a hell of a lot easier to get from point A to point B. A lot easier.
Well, what would it take you to drive right now?
No traffic, probably about 20 minutes to half hour.
Yeah.
Half hour ish.
So it cut it down,
I'm
but
gonna
but
say,
it's
well,
also like you say, if
but
it's a big city where it's hard for parking, that's
yeah, that's
always
the
a
thing.
pain. But any of
And
those major cities are, right?
it's
Heck,
also
even the city that I'm in, if you go downtown, it's terrible for parking. It's not that big of a city.
it gets more and more problematic.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that when I think I timed it once. I don't even pay attention. I just give it a half hour. But that's from the time I leave my exit to the time I hit the first exit there. So that's not even the full. That's kind of like at the highway as it travels without traffic.
Right.
Is it ish 20 ish. Yeah. But this is again an area that I would love to see getting improved. Another talking about improvements and AI, at least we were earlier. AI is rolling out to Google Workspace users. Now, this is not the free accounts, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because they're bringing some neat features into Workspace. But remember, they're pitting Workspace up against Microsoft. So Microsoft is going to continue to roll out AI, and Google will as well. But Google is now. I'd imagine that so these tools are primarily for Workspace users. So you have to pay for Workspace. This is not your @Gmail account. This is a custom domain. It's great, but what I was looking forward to more than anything was them rolling this out to regular Gmail customers, regular users, right? I'd be willing to pay to use that account, but I'm not going to necessarily pay extra to get something that I'm like, well, I'm just duplicating just to get this feature. It just doesn't make any sense versus already having, that Google account, that Gmail account. So I'd imagine that the features are eventually going to trickle that direction. Over time, I want the design to come our direction because the design is a hell of a lot cleaner than what we have today. A lot cleaner.
You had mentioned that you are using Chat GPT. So what is your use case? What are you using it for?
My primary, well, like the screenshot showed, help me write. So this is showing write me a job post for a regional sales rep, right? And then it generates it. In many cases, I've used it for something like that. Maybe not as specific as that, but write a YouTube description for a video about ChatGPT. Write these 3 bullet points as a YouTube video description with tags. Those have been my primary use cases.
Cool. And it's been working out for you pretty good?
Oh yeah, because I don't care what it reads like as long as it's accurate because it's written it. I can put that metadata directly into the YouTube video and be done with it. I don't have to worry about it, right? I have looked for other opportunities though. That said, to better use ChatGPT to summarize or extend or rewrite, but I haven't really felt like that. I've been stuck at a point where something needs to be rewritten yet. But that's where I'd use it specifically in writing. But they're talking about integrating all the way through to not just spreadsheets but presentations as well with generative AI, which is it's outstanding. And eventually, this is going to, I believe, go everywhere. Because look, you'll be able, with the features, you'll be able to draft, reply, summarize, and prioritize Gmail, brainstorm, proofread, write, and rewrite in docs, bring creative vision to life with auto-generated images, audio, and video in slides. Go from raw data to insights and analysis via auto-completion, formula generation, and contextual categorization in sheets. Generate new backgrounds and capture in Meet. Enable workflows for getting things done in chat. So Google is really doubling down on this, at least with Workspace. So it's all about enterprise at that level, which is fascinating to me. But I would love to all those things. I would love to see in the regular suite of tools, which 99% of us use. So I'm looking forward to those.
Cool.
I found out about this today. It was a post on Mastodon. The Calyx Institute. Their mission is to educate the public about privacy and digital communications to develop tools that anyone can use. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting, but what does that mean for me? Well, you can get unlimited mobile internet. Now, this is probably U.S. Based primarily. There may be international too. But you can get unlimited 4G for $500 for the first year, $400 thereafter. Or 4G, 5G Wi-Fi hotspot for $600 for first year, $500 thereafter. Or a MiFi X Pro 5G, which has all the carrier aggregation, all that stuff, for $750 for the first year and $500 thereafter. Now compare that to a cell phone plan, right?
Yeah.
So it's unlimited, untapped, like it's unlimited, period. It's an access point that you don't have to, you're paying for, you're paying, I'm not going to say next to nothing, but like what is, let's see here. So if I go into my handy dandy calculator, because I can't math in my head.
Is there such a thing in the US?
$60 a month. $60 a month, and then it goes down after that first year for a 5G hotspot. Which is going to be wicked fast. And, for home internet, if you've got to wrestle with an ISP, 5G might do you better. Well, depending on your devices in your house and where you're set up and all that. But I thought this was very, very interesting. Calyx uses the T-Mobile network to do this.
Your 5G connection.
Yeah. And I guess they also have a Calyx OS that runs on Pixels.
Are they just another player that's using off of the infrastructure that's already out there?
Yeah, like an MVNO. I'd imagine something like that.
Yeah, it would have to be.
But they're
otherwise they'd have no
independent.
Coverage.
It's an organization. They got these various projects. That's their mission. Privacy by design for everyone. But for all intents and purposes, if I needed a hotspot, I'd just as soon go here and sign up for an account. Then go to a carrier, even though it is a carrier. They're doing it by proxy. The fact that they're as transparent with the pricing, and this is their drive, right? This is what they do. Like, it just seems to be far less complex. You need to add another line, you need to do this, and you do that, and you're throttled.
I'll celebrate the day that we no longer have to have capped cellular data plans. And it will come. If you can remember more of the internet infancy where we did have capped, just even with the internet, right? Once we started to go high speed, they started to cap. Even with faster modem connections way back in the day, they used to cap you with your data plan. But we haven't seen that yet with mobile, but it will come. And because I foresee, even your electric cars and all that, they're all going to be like your own little hotspot or whatever in the vehicle itself, right? And so I'm not sure when we'll see that, but maybe companies like this that are pushing ahead will help force the rest of them to start to compete. And it's competition, right? Because you won't be looking at your cellular provider, right? If they're going to be saying, well, you're capped at like 10 gig, and then every other gig after that is X amount of dollars. Well, that's a joke, right?
I wouldn't
these guys over
at
here.
That point, I wouldn't even worry about it, and then I would upgrade. Yep. Like, if that was something that I wasn't getting anywhere with any other plan, this is viable. It's certainly that you'd think, oh, that's expensive. Like, no, that's actually really affordable for what you'd get. And I'd be willing to even pay more for that not have to worry about the getting throttled or being capped or what have you. So it seems like a really interesting way of getting unlimited 5G thing, compared to, going through everything else. Hang on just a second. My head may be coming unglued. No, I hear something clicking in the filament. Yeah, it's my head. My head is flying, or it's going to fly around. So I'm losing my head.
That explains
But
the headache, eh?
I don't want to stop the print because the head is almost done.
Mm.
Yeah, the head is definitely. Look at the head. You see my head? Look at my head. My head is going
Yeah.
all over the place.
Oh,
There.
now it's like just plunk.
It's like
Did it
no,
finish it though, or no?
no. It got most of the way there,
Uh,
and then I
just
knew it
let
was going to
go.
be a potential issue and that I'd have to use a brim,
Mm,
or I should have used a brim.
right.
But like, I don't want to stop it because,
The rest of the parts.
I feel like the head's almost done,
Mm.
or I'd be able to recoup the pieces, then just reprint the head versus reprinting all the pieces.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I can make it work. Yeah, there we go. So it's just
It's just dragging them around.
Stop
He's there-
dragging my head around.
He's just there for the ride.
I mean, it's not a bad head. I've had worse heads,
Mm.
and all because I wanted to do a chocolate crust. It doesn't have many connection points, and this plate had been pretty decent. I guess maybe I'll have to wash it again with soap and water. That would be the problem.
Your Prusimini's been very still pretty good shape, right? You
Seems
haven't
in
had
shape.
any-
I just replaced the hot end, though you wouldn't know it by looking at it because I had a spaghetti
Oh yeah, that can
yesterday
muck it up.
overnight, and that really mucked it up. Yeah, and so I had to kind of clean it off. But otherwise, it is, for all intents and purposes, brand new.
Mm.
Had to clean out a clogged nozzle, so I'm like, great. Just what a way to initiate, the new hardware. Just getting it, in and set up.
If it would have been over again, I would have got a Prusimini.
Yeah, the mini's good.
I
It's
just
solid.
didn't know enough at the time, and I just
Yeah.
thought, oh, I'll get something a little bit cheaper because I don't know if it's going to be a thing that I want to do or not.
Right.
And then,
So yeah, it's not. It's almost done. It's like on the way up to being done, like the
yeah,
crown.
this is the last
So it's
bit
going
of
to
the
print
tip of
in
it.
midair, likely. Watch me burn myself. Don't do what I'm doing, kids. I'm basically trying to collect the filament so that it doesn't. So it collects there on the head, rather than on the other pieces. At this point. Danger, Will Robinson.
Yes.
So I can even zoom it in for you as soon as They moved a lot of my stuff around with the new. They've got a new utility that I use for this camera. So there's a closer look.
Yeah.
You see it all screwed up.
Yep.
But again, I'm using it more as a collection point, or trying to use it as a collection point. This is where I get smart and use something like tweezers. No. Come on. I'm probably gonna break everything. Just when I try to make something better, that's usually when it gets worse. It's the story of my life.
It's funny. It's still doing pretty, or at least it was doing still pretty decent with it. It's just when it needs to go back to where it prints the head, it's just going to be spaghetti, though, right?
Yeah. Kind of what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
I was trying to make the head kind of an aggregate point for it. There's no way.
Is that gonna that's probably gonna interfere? Yeah.
Because I just don't want the.
Are the parts almost done? Are you almost at?
Yeah.
Okay. So you might.
Oh,
I see why you're trying to.
Except, apparently the arm wasn't printing either. Because that wouldn't have come loose there. Although that got saved. And we'll see how this turns out. It's not going to be a full-on spaghetti. But I've covered everything I was hoping to cover tonight. There wasn't a lot of news that I was able to catch today.
Yeah.
And Glendon's out because his internet, maybe he needs this 5G. His internet's down.
His internet's down.
They're replacing something.
Is he out in kind of the out back somewhere in the country somewhere?
I'm not sure. I know he's got to be. I think he's in a city or close to a bigger city. Oh, sorry about the.
Yeah.
ticker not
Can't
moving there.
remember. I think he did mention something, but I can't remember what.
Well, he's close enough to live to or close enough to be near some of the bigger stores.
Mm,
Not all the bigger stores.
right.
See, I got like I got a Boba Fett Stretch Armstrong last night.
I was seeing that earlier.
Yesterday. It does. It's a true branded Stretch Armstrong. For real. Not like a knockoff fake one. Never had one as a kid, but I remember playing with it. I'm
So
like,
it's obviously it's licensed then too.
yeah, it's
right?
licensed. Yeah, it is LFL, Hasbro, Stretch Armstrong.
Hasbro makes it then.
Yeah, it's a Hasbro. And pretty much every old toy company became Hasbro. Every one of them.
Yeah. It's funny how that goes.
Not a surprise.
Yeah. When they took over Kenner.
Yeah, that was a sad day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kenner
it was a happy day.
Yeah, Kenner
also,
used to be that kind of that company that was just an upcoming one, right? And
yep.
Star Wars toys was one of the bigger things that put them on the map, right?
Oh, it definitely put them on the map.
Yeah. It was a surprise to them all that company actually got it. And it had a lot to do with I think when I was watching the Toys That Made Us, you remember those
Yep.
on
The
Netflix?
specials?
I think they were,
yep. Interviewed the director. Yep.
I think they were mentioning something along the lines too. It was because of I forget what other toy line, but the tooling was there and they only had to kind of do with some of the figures. So some of the figures are based off of other figures from something else.
Yep.
But with Star Wars, so and that way because they were already so far behind the ball trying to get stuff out already anyway, right? So
yeah, like Robin Hood. They did Robin Hood figures.
Yeah. So it was interesting. It's like, oh yeah, and at the time you're like, well, that makes sense. Back then, you can't get away with that as much now.
Not
People just
easily.
won't buy it, right?
Although it's like I saw some close-ups of the Tron figures. I guess Disney's released a series of exclusive Tron. Well, not just Disney, but through Super 7, some 5 POA Tron figures that are park exclusives. Unfortunately, I'm like, how am I going to get those? How am I going to get those? Because they're Super 7, so they're going to be expensive, and they're only park exclusive, so they're going to be double expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for those. I'm the 5 POA.
I like Tron.
Yeah, well, I've got a handful of the modern recasts from I think it was Tomy that made those.
I think they're rumbling about another movie or a series.
There's a video game coming soon.
Another video game, yeah.
Yeah. Don't know about a movie.
I thought there was some sort of movie in the makes.
Maybe, but
hard to say.
I don't think it went. I don't think the sequel did very well at the box office.
Not as much as well as they wanted to. I think.
Right. Well, given that the first,
I really enjoyed it, but you got to kind of be into that.
Yeah.
Because if you go back, it's kind of hard to watch the original Tron too.
Really? I love it.
I mean, for some people, right? Like if they've never seen it before, I don't think they could get into it now. I rewatched it a while ago. But, in its time, it was like, this is kind of cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I can still watch it. Still, to this day. I think it holds up. But I'm a little crazy that way.
Yeah, I wanted I eyed up for quite a while, but just couldn't justify the money of it. But I did want the one-up arcade, Tron arcade there.
Right.
I wanted to get it, but I never did.
Sorry, my watch got too close to as I was peeling away the spaghetti, my watch got too close to the phone, and then the NFC tag tried to pick up the
watch.
Yeah, the watch picked up on the smartphone, or tried to at least.
Yeah.
So now I've got to get there.
Knocked it out. Yeah.
Come on, you can do it. So I lost. So I've got the error message showing up, even though they're because this thing's spaghetti. That's Just when I try to improve everything, and now it's all now it's crashy.
I just watched the latest Picard there yesterday. The
Oh,
latest one that there's like 4 of them out
from
there
last
now.
week.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little behind in watching them, but I caught up again now. I'm enjoying
Last
it.
week was a good one.
I think it's the season that should have been like first season kind of
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
Not that I
Totally agree.
hated the other ones, but you know, now when you've got a lot of the older characters back and just the whole
everything about it.
Everything about this storyline now is like where you wanted it to begin with.
Totally
right?
agree. Yeah, that's what we were talking.
And it's
Mr.
kind
Yoda
of
and I
too
were
bad
talking
that
about.
well, this is the last season. You're like, oh,
I think
why couldn't they start it out that way?
But see, that's the thing is, I think if fans can say, yeah, seasons weren't great, you know, if they can be honest about it, then it works for me. So I'm like, okay, now I've got as long as my watch doesn't come near it, I should be good.
You know, other series like you think when they first announced it, there's people like, well, why is that going to be? I can't see that being any good or whatever. And I was a fan of the Karate Kid stuff, but I think a lot of people were surprised at how good Cobra Kai was.
Cobra Kai was awesome.
Yeah. But I think when it was first announced, I was hearing like a lot of people like, Karate Kid, you know, how good could that be? But it's like, then
really,
and it became this big thing. Yeah, I heard a few people kind of him about it, but that weren't that excited about it. I was, because I
was
actually just went out and bought the 4K discs of the movies.
I was definitely interested.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't.
And they brought back pretty much everybody they could bring back, like at least a cameo, right? At some point.
Yeah, I've seen about everybody that could be pulled back.
Yeah. And they've done a good job, because I think some people thought too, well, Mr. Miyagi's not going to be in it because he's passed away, right? And maybe that's where that started from. People just figured, if you don't have that, you don't have, can't be that great of a Karate Kid. But
it was good.
Been really good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Enjoyed
I think this is last season coming up when it does.
Yeah,
drop
I believe
again.
so too. And it's coming up this year.
Is it going to drop this year?
I think so. I think they've either got it in the campaign, because I think they teased it at the end of this season.
Right. Yep. And then there's I want to see. I think the last season of Stranger Things is going to drop too.
That's right. That's coming too.
Yeah, we've got some good TV going. So far, so good. I've always been worried about like all these streaming sites cropping up, and then it repeating what happened with the crash of the video game market, with just so much
garbage,
so many sites, and so many, with the video game market was all these weird consoles and everything, and them all trying to push out all these games that were crappy and everything, right? And it crashed the market. So I worried that, when we're seeing all these streaming sites come up and they're all trying to do their own, and you got to compete, you have to have your exclusive. Otherwise, why would you go over to another streaming site?
Right.
Well, it's because they have, this one has Star Trek. Well, this one has Stranger Things. This one has, so that's what gets you buying them, right? But
which is frustrating.
Oh, I know, to no end. So it's, I don't know where we're going with this that way. Like, but we'll probably get back into like cable packages again, right? It's like bulk it, and then
we're kind of there now.
Cheaper.
You can bundle now.
Yeah, a little bit here. I think more so in the US than here.
Well, potentially,
because we don't have Hulu and that, because I think what Disney Plus and Hulu, I think they you can get bundle packages there with that, and so it's a little bit different. I think our Crave, you can do it a little bit here. We have one called Crave in Canada, and
I'm not sure we have that.
No, you wouldn't, because it's owned by Bell in Canada. So, but it basically carries content across. It does some Paramount, even though Paramount Plus is here. But it also it's the only place really to get the HBO Max stuff. Like, we can't get HBO Max here, so you have to go through Crave. Yeah.
Well, they're talking about, I think, even changing the name HBO Max, because I think that's Discovery, and they're talking about going with the Discovery branding, which to me is just stupid. because like I know HBO.
Mm,
I know HBO.
yeah. HBO's always had like really good content with stuff when they put it out, right? I really enjoyed the Game of Thrones and that. I haven't
Oh yeah.
tried that. What is it, of the Dragon or whatever? The kind of the prequel of that. My dad zipped through that one, said it was really good. I haven't gotten around to getting back into that to try out the prequel of Game of Thrones, but I did like Game of
Oh, it's
Thrones.
good.
Oh, you've caught it, eh?
House of the Dragon. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, he says there's
It's
lots of
enjoyable.
dragons and stuff in it, so I'm
Yeah.
like, it'll be up my alley. Just
It
haven't sat down to start watching that one yet.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that I love that, the story and the people and everything, but it's just like it was comfortable enough or familiar enough
Mhm.
that I was like, okay, I can get into this, and I did. Didn't I wouldn't say it's got the same magic, but it's different.
Yeah, I assume pretty much that, but um, I think I'll probably still enjoy it when I get into it. What did you think of Willow?
It was good. I mean, it was
Yeah,
enjoyable. It wasn't,
yeah.
I wouldn't say it was. It's not my
I was
fandom.
interested in. I was like, oh, because the movie was kind of the same thing.
It was
I liked
fun,
it. It was
fantasy.
good, but it wasn't like, oh, this all time. Like, I do own it. I have it like on a DVD that I haven't watched in years. And of course it's on Disney now to watch it that
Right.
way too. But yeah, I was interested that they actually picked that one to do, but it's not surprising either when they're kind of resurrecting all the LucasArts stuff anyhow. But going through it, it was okay. It's not bad. I got a kick out of like how each episode would end and they what kind of music they'd use for the score at the end of each one of them, and that
Right.
kind of neat that way. But
It was good. I'm glad they did it. Um, if only to see, how Willow ended up, and
mm,
I'm glad they got Sorsha in there again. Of course, they couldn't reprise do Mad Mardigan.
no,
That
no.
was not likely to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, all things considered, it was done well.
Yeah.
If anybody was like keeping score, but I wasn't looking for it to be. I'm not looking for any of these shows to be amazing. I
Yep.
want them to be entertaining and just good enough.
Yep. That's how I
Eh,
was with some people don't like Sylvester Stallone, but I really like Tulsa King. I don't know
See,
if
I
you've
haven't
caught
started
that
it.
one yet.
Haven't started it.
Yeah. You should give it a go. You might like that one.
Yeah, that's what I've been told, and
Yeah,
I
yeah. I wasn't sure about it, and I left it for quite a while, and then I played one episode, and then it kind of pulled me in, and I'm like, okay, that's my thing now. I'll
when
watch
when
one per day, kind of
when I'm
thing.
when I'm caught up on all my other shows, like because this is the
Yeah, there's a
problem is I
lot
get
going on right
yeah.
now.
See, I get caught up on a show, and then I'm in between. I've got a lull, so I'm like, okay, what show am I going to pick up? So I don't have many. I don't have very many opportunities to pick up new shows because
Yep,
inevitably, like we start new seasons,
yep,
and then I start binging another show that's out and it's been out for like 4
yeah.
seasons. So then I gotta catch up on that. And they just released the final. I don't know if this is final, but the second half of season 4 for you. So
Hmm.
I'm watching that. I'm also still binging through Servant on Apple TV Plus. And then, of
Yeah, I
course, all
hear
my
that's pretty
normal, like
good.
Bad Batch is now out, and all the normal
Yeah.
shows that are contemporaneously. And then Ted Lasso starts tomorrow too.
Mm.
Yeah, Apple TV Plus out of all of them is probably the one that is indispensable. Best thing that Apple's done in years by far. By
Yeah,
far.
see, Lisa and I were talking about that again tonight because we don't have it right now. We had it when we had it free, but it was at the beginning before they hardly had any content on it,
Yeah.
right? So we just never went back to it. But we were kind of looking at it tonight again. It's just that, well,
It's
right
definitely
now
different.
we both agreed we're both into a lot, so we really don't need it right now. But I said if we get a little bit of a lull somewhere, and then maybe we'll pick it up, and then we'll start watching some stuff on there.
Yeah, I
I
think
said
it'd be
there's no
worth it.
sense of getting it now because we're both of us are well invested in a whole bunch of different TV shows right now that are going,
Yeah.
and it's just you get too much going at once.
Yeah. No,
If you,
it's been good.
yeah,
I'd rather have more entertainment or more than enough than not enough.
yeah,
I'd
but
rather be
I'm
swimming
happy
in it.
with that. It's still been pretty good because, like I said, my worry is that they're all trying to compete, so they're going to put the pedal, the pedal to the metal of trying to knock out a bunch of stuff that's not that great, just so
Well,
that they
see,
say, oh, we have all
I,
this exclusive content.
and I think it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
They should be doing it, or would be doing it, just doing it for quality content.
Yeah. And it's been good. So I've been pleasantly
For the
surprised, because I kind of worried that it was going to go that way with especially now that Paramount stepped up and they're like, now we're going to want to play in that realm as well. I mean, they're growing quite quickly too, because they're clawing back their own stuff, right? That's all, as contracts and stuff end of it, they're going to pull their stuff back. So they're not as like how I think the best one that came out of the gates as a new player up against Netflix was Disney Plus, because
Yep.
they had a lot of their content
Their
on day
library.
one,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Apple didn't have a lot, and they're certainly building quality. They still don't have a lot, but they have a
No,
lot of
but
quality shows, right?
Apple's got enough. I will say this: Apple's got enough to justify continuing to pay for it right
Yeah,
now.
which is good.
Yeah,
Which is
and
good.
they've
That's
got
where
new
they wanted
releases.
to play, in that realm. So it sounds like they're pretty successful there.
Yep.
And then, like I said, Paramount Plus, it made sense too, because they have a lot of great stuff, a lot of great movies, a lot of other stuff. But it's nice to see that they've pumped out some pretty good TV exclusives in that realm as well.
Yep.
Right. And eventually, like right now, like I think they would have liked it with a lot of the Star Trek stuff. But I noticed that, like I mentioned earlier, Crave has the Picard, and did the Stranger Things, or not Stranger Things.
Well, that's
what's
Netflix.
it? Yeah. But yeah, they're clawing all that stuff back. So I notice per month it's getting better as it goes along.
Well, that's the thing, is that you catch them on the right time, or wrong time, as the case would be, and they don't have anything. But there's a fine line between not having anything and having things that are worth having. So like even like comparing Netflix, let's say, to Apple TV. Netflix has got billions. Okay, maybe not that many, right? I'm being, obviously I'm exaggerating, but they've got copious amounts of entertainment. It's just that most of what is on Netflix is not, it's not quality, it's quantity. So Netflix has they've needed to step up their game, and they have, to a certain degree, done that, with certain releases, but not all, to the point where I don't, like, if I see a show on Netflix, I think twice before I start watching it. I'm like, well, what do the reviews say? Or is anybody in my network talking about it? Versus Apple TV, and on Apple TV, I'm so much more willing to basically take a risk on a show.
Yeah, even if you hadn't heard of it, just start watching.
Because it's the quality is there.
Yeah, it's interesting too how even right down to the actors, they seem to be pretty, like, I think there's a lot of contract stuff going on, because it's like you won't see Tom Hanks over anywhere else with any new content per se.
Well,
he seems to be,
if you pay them enough, right, then I'd imagine if you paid them enough.
They're kind of getting split up a little bit there, but I don't know. It's I don't know if you've caught. What is it there? The Last of Us. I've started to watch that one.
Yeah, every episode, and now season 1 is done.
Yeah, I've just watched the first 3 episodes so far. It's pretty
good.
Oh
yeah, no, it's.
I mean, I was a big fan of the game. Actually, that's one of the few games I actually play all the way through. Right.
So yeah, see, not having played the game, I don't. I have to, like.
And you don't. And see, Lisa mentioned that to me the other night. There, she was like, "Oh, she said people are saying Last of Us is pretty good. I might give that a go or whatever." And I said, "Well, one, it is like kind of zombie like, right? So if you're tired,
yeah, but
it's not as bad as you like. It does have that kind of Walking Dead type of thing to it,
but it's not. It's not bad. I wouldn't watch it.
No, it's definitely not The Walking Dead. So I said you may or may not, depending if you're sick of that or not. And then she said, that's okay. But then I told her it was based off a video game. She's like, and I said, no. Just because I said that, I said you wouldn't have known if I hadn't have told you. Right. So don't let that make you not want to watch it either. Right?
I wouldn't have either. I wouldn't have had any clue whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
There are times that it gets a little slow for me, but I've still enjoyed it. I've still enjoyed it through and through.
I really
There've
liked
been
Halo
really good
as
episodes.
well. Like, that's another video game, a TV show that people are kind of like, oh, I don't know, because it's based off a video game. But I really liked the Halo one. I'm looking forward
Halo
to the
was good.
second season of it. Yeah.
Yeah, Halo was solid.
Yeah.
I didn't play Halo a lot, but
No.
I knew enough, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep. Cortana, the AI, and the whole thing with it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm looking
AI. That
forward.
sounds so far fetched. AI is never
Yeah.
gonna. It's never
What's
gonna work.
that?
People are never going to accept AI ever. It's never gonna take off.
Maybe in the next episode it'll be like Cortana versus a Chat GPT
Dude,
or something.
don't be surprised, and I'm serious about this. Do not be surprised if at some point in the future we find out that let's say there's a hit TV show, like a brand new show. It's like not a not a big show or whatever, but like a new a show that under the radar or whatever, and then people fall in love with it, and like everyone just adores it, and it's amazing. And then we've come to find out that it was written by AI.
Yeah. with all deep fake characters.
Well, no. Let's
Right?
just say forget deep fake. Let's just say it was written by the writing is spectacular and blah blah blah. They totally, and then we find out it's AI. It's going to happen. That is going to happen.
Oh yeah, somebody's got to try that.
Mark my words, it will happen.
And then there'll be huge interest in the industry. Then at that point, it's like, why do we pay writers?
Right. I'm telling you, it's disruptive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
AI is going to overwrite you, and I'm saying this, and I'm like, ha ha ha. No, not a ha ha. It's like it's going to happen. It's a matter of time. Everyone's going to get disrupted.
All the years that we've had so far of seeing digital disruptions here and there, like taxi cabs put on flipped over on their head when Uber came out and things like that. Like we've seen little inklings of it, but I keep saying that's just the warm-up round with AI. Like we haven't seen nothing yet for digital disruption. Like this is just gonna go all over. And people, like you say, that don't think it's going to affect you, it's going to affect you.
Every day that goes by.
It's like, I don't deal with computers. I don't do all that. I'll be fine. I've just got my little mom and pa shop back here. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think it's not going to bother you?
Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, you would be able to pedal in somewheres, but if no one's able to afford to buy.
My problem is what is plan B? Like what is plan B when it gets that's the thing. No one knows.
I'm already on plan C in my life. So yeah, that plan B has that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I'm on plan C, D, E maybe.
Yeah.
I'm no longer on my plan is definitely different.
It's like it seems so far off still for retirement. Not that I'm wishing my life away or anything like that, but
and then you'll have all the time in the world to catch up on your shows.
Yeah. And there'll be so many new shows because all I'll have to do is sit down and tell the TV, I would like to watch an action movie with such and such. Make me a story.
Right.
Can you imagine that? That's the future. When you sit down and you just give it a few little genres and criteria of what you want to watch, and then the thing just processes it and then it gives you a show.
Here's the thing. People are streaming live streams of like SpongeBob and Seinfeld and whatnot with AI on Twitch. And granted, it's kind of playful.
Sure.
But think about like our first video games at home. They were playful. They were fun. They were interesting. 20 years later, right? 30 years later, like, yeah, that's not outside the realm of possibility. And it's going to get there faster because that's how technology is advancing.
Yeah.
Hand over fist.
I'd be like, I want to see a new episode of Seinfeld now. Like mash it all up, or not even mash it up, just
on the Seinfeld on the. You watch it on the Twitch. Oh, looks great. Look, AI did not draw this. AI did not draw this. Artificial intelligence. Remember that app I put on your iPad where you can draw it and then it makes it something else? That's AI that translates it. There we go. We got a Love You house living right on the interstate with a lake and a tree. Where is this? I don't either. California has highways, lakes, rivers, trees, and houses with a smokestack. And it's very sunny. So yeah, it is California. And then 2 houses. Oh, it's a garage?
It's a shack.
Oh, a shack. Is that a maker shed?
It's a shack.
A shack where you stick like 3D printers and stuff in?
No.
Oh,
It's a,
it's just a shack.
yeah, where you
Okay.
stick like lawnmowers and,
Oh, lawnmowers. Bah. Who wants that?
and
Would-
3D prints.
Would you rather have a 3D printer or a lawnmower?
3D printer.
Exactly. You can stay. If you were gonna say lawnmower, I'd be get out. Lawnmowers are not allowed here.
Oh, no.
Huh?
I know they smell so bad.
Well, the lawnmowers don't smell bad. Daddy spent enough time with a lawnmower as a kid to tell you lawnmowers are not. If Daddy never has to mow the lawn again.
Look at this.
Stretch Armstrong, Stretch Boba. You like Stretch Boba?
Mhm.
It's fun.
Were you one of
Careful
those
not to
ones that
break
had
him.
to mow an acre lot with a push mower?
No, it wasn't a push mower, but I mean, we had a front yard and a backyard in Iowa,
Yeah,
and I part of my chores were to mow it. I'm
I
like,
like it.
those hot days, right?
I like to go.
do not miss it at all.
No.
I like Iowa.
Oh yeah, you liked Iowa? Are you okay? Are you gonna throw up, honey? You okay?
Mhm.
Where are you getting gaggy at? What's happening? Where do you feel it? If you need a gag, are you gonna do it?
No,
You sure?
it's just I'm fine.
You gonna throw up?
It's just I can't breathe.
You can't breathe, and that makes you gag.
Mm.
Okay. Sorry, did not want child
No.
chunder everywhere.
No, might be.
You seriously
did she
getting
have a
gaggy?
cold?
What?
Did she have a cold kind of
No,
thing?
she
or-
just got she just had tonsillectomy.
Oh right, yes, I forgot about that. Yes.
So yeah,
Is it? Yeah. Is it scabbing? Like
Yeah, I'm
I
guessing
remember
it's
that at 15, and it's going down your throat, and it's ugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
I can't remember that part of it, but yeah,
Yeah, I
she's been
do.
healing for a week.
I was 15 when I got mine, so I remember it quite well.
15. See,
Yeah, it was later in life. It was obstructing my sleep and stuff, right?
her too. It's like
Yeah.
she snores really loud.
Yeah. Well, I'm into. I have to use
Not anymore.
CPAP now, right? So it didn't really fully fix it.
Oh, you have CPAP?
Yeah, I didn't fully fix it. I had to go to CPAP later in life here.
And I'm a kicker.
And what, hun?
And I'm a kicker.
You're a kicker. Yeah, she kicks and punches in her sleep too.
Mm,
That cannot be written off with large tonsils.
no.
I don't think that has to do.
Did she get her
anything about
adenoids
it.
too? They usually
Yeah,
do them in
adenoids,
pairs.
and they're both swollen.
Yeah.
That much was pretty obvious. So it was kind of like a danger to keep them in, but also a danger to take them out. But
I
Yeah.
like Iowa because Uncle Adam has those fresh tomatoes.
yeah, fresh tomatoes. Well, you can grow tomatoes here too.
And he has a machine. He has a gumball machine.
Oh, he has a gumball machine.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. I don't know, but it was a machine.
Oh, he has got a machine. Yes, we must love people who have machines.
He's doing the split.
And he is doing the splits. He is. Don't know why I thought something was flying over here. I think I saw it like it's from the screen. I thought something was flying.
But it is. Now he's doing